Hello, everybody. After a short recess, we are back. And guess what? Today is season 5. And season 5 has many surprises. Season 4 have another type of surprises. Season 5 has these surprises, which are different topics, not only dental oriented, but also we have subjects that apply to our life. And I wanted also to influence to all the young generations, students in dentistry or any career they wanted to follow. One of the most lazy things that we have in dentistry, that we do in dentistry or we don't do in dentistry, is to make a business plan. And why is important? I never considered that before, because if you have a financial support of your family, sometimes you don't worry about it. But it's important that you worry. In what aspect I'm talking? Managing the administration part of our business is a headache for many of us in dentistry. We don't like to do it, but it's incredibly and amazingly important in our lives. Why is it important? Because my mom used to say, you need to be sure you're going to have money when you get old, and you're not going to be able to work, and you need to know what kind of comfortable life do you want to have. Now, in dentistry, we have several parts in dentistry. One is, what do you want from this business plan? What I'm talking about is, how do you make a business plan? We didn't study business. There are some students that went to business school and then they decided to be dentists, but they're not. You can count with the fingers. The other ones, I was in a lecture recently about artificial intelligence with these extremely young dentists making budgets for several steps in dentistry. And artificial intelligence, it will tell the dentist about cost, value, and even diagnosis. They're training this program that they're working on it. I was very impressed. It's a USC graduate student, and I was very impressed with his presentation because he's thinking about the organizational part of the business, which is, if you open your business and you don't know how much is my business going to cost, what is going to be the goals of this business? Do I want to have a house in the Hamptons? Do I want to have a summer home? Do I want to have in Los Angeles a Catalina place where I want to relax? Or I just want to have a comfortable life and have my house. Whoever is planning to have kids, the kids are going to go to college. I'm going to have money for the college of my kids. Or simply how I'm going to retire when I finish dentistry. And these are things that we don't think, especially in my situation. I'm extremely passionate of what I do. So I never thought about how much it's costing me to have my patient on the chair. Talking to my administrator at the office, and I'm very lucky to have Maria Morales, that she went to the School of Business and Accounting, is her major and minor. And I'm very lucky because when I asked her what are the plans at the office, give me the profit and loss, she always have ready, and I get her advice. We need to follow this plan, and we need to have an accountant or an administrator that study business that tell us how do we gonna be organizing our practice. If we have a big practice like mine, it's 2,000 square meters, and I have Dr. Frank Vijak here, which is a prosthodontist. How many dentists need to be here to be producing the certain amount of money to be able to have a decent life? These are things that we do not think about when we are young, because you are so excited that you are a dentist first. And then, in my case, I was working in Mexico City, and I was very lucky with very generous parents where I never had to pay rent. But when you come to America, it's welcome to America, and now you have to pay rent or a mortgage of your house or your apartment. And if you buy a house or a car, it's 5 years to pay the car. Or if you lease the car, it's how many years you can lease the car, how many miles you have to drive the car. I mean, I learned amazing things that many of the younger generations don't know. However, some of them now that are waking up to know. Now, are we going to make this money in dentistry with 40 patients in a day? And what is the quality that we want to give to our patient? Because remember one thing, to have a good dentistry, to have a good dentist, that dentists have to spend enough amount of time with you during consultation, analyze what is your problem. In my case, I know why is this patient having a root canal? What happened to the patient that is ended up with 1 root canal, 2 root canals, 3 root canals, 4 root canals? Every 6 months, I have patients that come and another root canal. And when I analyze why, well, the patient was a heavy grinder, and he needs to have a night guard. Otherwise, he's going to have continuous root canal. But to provide a quality of service, you're going to have to spend more time with your patients. Therefore, you're not going to have the same amount of money that you're going to make when you spend 2 minutes in a consultation, and then you want to rush on a treatment, not knowing why it's important to save a tooth in the mouth. Remember, your dentist has to give you the time. And the younger generations have to know what type of dentist I want to offer to my patients. Even before you go to dentistry or any career, we have to think about how we're going to start our business, how much money we're going to need, and for that, it's never too late to do it. If you start your business already, if you start your office, your dental office, these are the advice I can give you. Get one of your accountants, one of your administrations people that you trust, and ask them, how did this work? How much is the price of my license at the office? That's number one. Is in United States, people doesn't understand. You think, oh my God, you go to United States and you charge a lot of money. But people doesn't know in America you have to pay a license. In Beverly Hills, for example, you need to pay a license to be in Beverly Hills. You have to pay your taxes, obviously. But also when you have your staff, you have to pay the payroll, Social Security, workers' compensation. And I will tell you quickly what is the meaning of all of this. The second thing that you have to acknowledge in the license, very important, and everybody has to have, is the liability insurance. Why liability insurance? Because everybody has to practice in America thinking, what is going to happen if this patient sue me? What is going to happen if the patient get an advice from somebody and I didn't do anything wrong, but the patient wants to sue me? I will tell you big advice for that. Even if you have a license, and I have never had a lawsuit, and I touch the wood, and I tell you why in more than 20 years working in Beverly Hills and before that in Century City. Because I have an excessive amount of communication with my patients in the consultation. It takes a long time, and I need to be sure if that treatment, the majority of treatments I have are complicated and are the majority of patients. A lot of people doesn't want to save the tooth. They come to me because they know I'm going to give them enough an amount of time to be able to have a treatment treated successful. I like to analyze, is this treatment going to last 5 years, 10 years? If the tooth is cracked, is this crack is dangerous? If this crack is going to be advancing? But if the patient is not going to have a night guard, don't even do the root canal. Tell the patient to save the money, extract the tooth, and have an implant. Because if the patient is grinding, the root canal you're going to do is not going to work. And if he doesn't have the crown, it's not going to work. If that crown is not cemented correctly, that we're going to have different topics about different cases, then you have to deal, then the root canal is not going to work. If they didn't put a build-up, which is something that I talked to you in another episodes after the root canal, you need to have something on top. That it's another time that you're going to spend as an endodontist after you finish the root canal, placing a material here for a build-up before they prepare a crown. As an endodontist, we have to plan every single step, which I don't, but the quality of work that we do is excessive, is extremely personalized, and I'm not kidding about it. The staff knows. And I put the amount of patients I need to have that day according to the time that patient is going to take from me. If the patient suffers from anxiety, I spend an hour, probably more, with that patient if the patient doesn't have the money to pay sedation, or if they don't have money for sedation. We have a topic about anxiety that I'm going to talk different things that we do at the office to help our patients to be better and more calm, and also the staff. Now, the second one is materials. What are the materials we're going to use at the office? What office supplies, dental materials. For the dentist, general dentist or prosthodontist, what is the cost of the lab? Periodontist, what is the cost of an implant that they're going to use, of all the instruments. Now, equipment. What is the cost of the microscope? When I remember, the microscope was $40,000. But of course, in America, we are lucky that we can make a loan for everything. So, and equipment has to have maintenance. It has to be repaired. It has to be taken care of. So you have to train your staff to take care of any one of your equipment. Every one of the machines that we use in endodontics, you're going to see images of machines that are used, like for rotary instruments. You're going to see how do we have the image when we're working on the microscope. You need to have a very talented assistant and spend the time and the patience with your staff to get your staff involved. To me, my assistants are my students. They're never my staff or my employee. Because why? I want that person to feel the importance of her presence with me on the chair. That if she is alert of what we're doing, she's going to be advancing ahead of time with what I'm going to do in dental assistant, which is another topic that we will talk later. Not today, in another episode. And also, you have to think, after all the time that we spend, what is the overhead? The part that happens is sitting the patient. I learned with this, I call it a kid because it's like a 20-something or probably 30-year-old dentist lecturing about artificial intelligence, that he come up with the amount of almost $450 to just sit the patient, because that we trash all these things are disposable. Many things that we use in this office that the quality is extremely high is disposable, and I'm sure a lot of my colleagues do the same. And you have to calculate how much is sitting your patient. In endodontics, our specialty is extremely generous specialty. We just have to be careful of the time that we spend with the patient. However, I am telling you, I've been extremely successful in my way of having my treatments lasting longer time, not thinking about the financial part, and at the same time thinking. So what happens when you don't have, if you increase your overhead because you're spending more time with the patients, then maybe I'm not going to have a Ferrari, and I'm not going to have a mansion in the Hamptons because I go in the summer. Maybe I'm not going to go to Europe 2 times, but I'm really happy the quality of I'm giving to my patients. That's in my situation. And I'm sure many of the dentists think in the same way. But what is the important part? You can have everything you want. You just have to think mentally. One time talking with Dr. Bichak, I said, a lot of endodontists see 8, some 10 patients a day, 5. I always see 4 or 6 patients in case we have an emergency, depending on the time the patient requires. But if that patient has a heavy anxiety and I'm going to do a sedation on the patient, I know I'm going to spend 4 hours with the patient by sitting, doing the sedation, everything comes to be sure that if it's an emergency, the patient is going to be covered. Be sure that if the patient is in sedation and all of a sudden start vomiting because he didn't eat or because they took a really bad food, I am able to turn around the patient and that patient is not going to die during the sedation. And I will be able to keep the patient alive. And with that, you need your liability insurance. Another important one that I remember with insurance was disability insurance and overhead insurance. I never thought it was important, but when I have an accident, I have to use disability insurance for a little short time, and that was very good to have that dental insurance. If you have more questions, you have to talk to your patients, and if you worry about the finances of your office, it's never late. Talk to your accountant, talk to your administration person that you have in charge. Always is good to talk to your patients, because the other part of the business, which is a nightmare, is the turnover of staff. Every time you're going to change a staff, I know dentists that they don't forgive any little mistake of the staff, and that mistake is costly maybe for the dentist. But the staff is a person that is responsible. It comes every day. It's a person that is not in a gossip pit. It doesn't create problems. It's an amazing assistant. It's learning. Then you have to balance, because you're turning over your staff is extremely expensive to train the staff. It costs from $3,000 to $5,000 to $6,000 when you're training a staff when they come to your office, especially on the front or on the back, which is another topic. But what I wanted to send you today, the message is, make your budget, your business plan, even before you go to dental school or any other career or any part of your life that you wanted to do. Having a business plan is extremely important. My nephews today have their business plan, and I was impressed. And many of the young generations are doing that. But whoever have not done it, be sure you done it by today. Talking about retirement plans, etc. Thank you. I hope you like the topic. This is not only dentistry, but if you have any questions, let us know. Thank you, and I see you in the next episode. Take care.